Hair color is not one size fits all. You can apply the same tube of color to two different heads of hair and it can come out wildly different. That's why learning how to formulate your hair color, especially when going lighter, is so much more important than just choosing a box because the picture on it looks great. Your starting hair and its history play a major role in how the color is going to turn out. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the same process that I use as a hairstylist on how to formulate color when going lighter. You'll learn how to determine if you can get away using permanent dye, high lift dye, or if you need to use bleach, as well as how to account for the underlying warm pigments that come up when we lighten hair. I'll also teach you how to choose what developer is going to be best for your situation and your hair type. Hair dye formulation is one of the most complex parts of cosmetology. So my goal for this video is to break this complex process down into simple steps that you can follow so that you can learn to formulate your hair color accurately and wind up with the shade that you want. The good thing is there are many different formulas that all can lead you to have similar results. So I don't want you to get too hung up on the specifics here. The most important aspect is distinguishing between warm, neutral, and cool colors. If you can understand that, then you are on the right track. Now, depending on your learning style, it may be easier for you to take all of this information in a blog post format so that you can take your time and refer back. So the first link in the description is a blog post that breaks this entire video down. And just to make this process a little bit easier to understand, I'm going to use a before and after picture of my own hair so you can follow along and see how I make each decision. Step 1. Determine your starting hair color. The first thing to do is determine if you have an even or uneven canvas. If you have multiple colors going on, you'll need to just take note of this. You likely will need a different formula for each different color. Next is determine if your hair is virgin or previously dyed. Previously dyed hair does react a little bit differently to hair color than virgin hair does, so just make a note of that, okay? And what is your starting level? The level is how light or dark your hair is on a scale from 1 being black to 10 being the lightest blonde. Now, if you're having a hard time determining what your starting level is, a pro tip is to take a swatch chart, hold the swatch chart up to your hair, take a picture, and view it in black and white. A lot of times the shade of the hair color really deceives the eye. Warmer colors often look lighter than they are, and cooler colors often look darker. So when you view the image in black and white, it's a lot easier to see the actual lightness and darkness. Okay, so let's dissect my hair here. This is my starting hair that we're working with. So I have an uneven canvas. We have 3 colors going on, and it's solid, it's not highlighted. My roots are a virgin level 7. Then I've got a previously dyed level 9 band right after those virgin roots. And these have an underlining warm pigment to them. And my ends are a level 10. They're obviously previously lightened and they're pretty neutral in tone. And that is going to conclude step 1. Step 2, choose your desired hair color goal. If you can, narrow it to a few goal pictures that you're shooting for. If you have some flexibility in the outcome, this could make the process a little bit easier for you. For example, if you're okay with being a little bit darker or even a little bit warmer, you may be able to get away with using a permanent dye or a high lift dye instead of bleach. Okay, so we're first going to determine if our goal is solid or dimensional. Maybe it's one color from roots to ends, maybe it's darker at the roots and it fades to lighter ends, or maybe there's highlights, maybe it's dimensional with paneling of different tones going on. So again, for each different color, we're going to determine the level, how light or dark it is, as well as the tone. First, determine if it's warm, neutral, or cool. Then, if you can, narrow it down a little bit further. If it's warm, is it copper or is it red? If it's neutral, is it more of like a brown or is it a little more beigey? And if it's cool, is it ash? Is it violet? On the screen, I'm going to put some common hair color shades as well as what their base is, whether it's warm, cool, or neutral. And this is going to make it a little bit easier for you. Okay, let's dissect my example. This color is solid from roots to ends. It's a level 10 and it's cool or relatively ashy. Step 3, choose your lightening product. Now in this step, we're going to determine if you can use permanent color, high lift color, or if you need to use bleach. Now, in most cases, if your hair is permanently colored and you need to lighten it more than like a level or two, then bleach is normally recommended for predictable lifting. Now, if you can get away with using permanent dye or high lift dye, you're going to be able to lighten and tone in one process. But if you do need to use bleach, then you're gonna need to lighten the color with bleach to the level you need it to, then tone down with the shade that you want. Okay, so how many levels lighter do you need to go? So if your roots are a level 7 and you want to get them to a 10, you need to lighten 3 levels. Now on the screen, I am putting examples of when you can use permanent dye and when you can use high lift hair dye. If you only need to bump up a few levels, or if your hair is virgin, then there's a good chance that you can get away with using permanent or high lift dye. But if your hair is previously dyed and you need to bump it up a lot, then you might need to use bleach. Now, some extra tips here. It is much better to lighten it up past the level that you need and then tone down to your desired shade than if you don't quite get it up light enough. I know that bleach is often demonized. We want to avoid damaging our hair. But in all reality, a lot of times with hair color or high lift hair color, we just can't get it light enough to remove that underlining warmth, and then we're fighting trying to tone it down. So I do want to point out that if you are on the fence, do a test strand of each and see if the high lift can get you light enough and tone out that warmth that you need out, and 2, if the bleach would be damaging or not for your hair. Additionally, you'll want to consider the texture of your hair. If you have really fine hair, you may be able to push the weaker product further. But if you have really coarse hair, then you may need to use bleach even if you are lifting only a few levels. Okay, so for my example, my roots need to be lifted 3 levels. So I can get away with using high lift dye here. And that warm band only needs to come up 1 level. So I can actually pull that high lift dye down over that warm band and it'll bump it up. But for my ends that are already lightened to a 10, we need to make sure that we leave those out and we are not pulling the high lift dye over that, because that would over process them and could cause damage. Step 4. How to choose what shade to use when going lighter. Okay, so in this step, we're going to determine the underlining pigment that is exposed when you lighten your hair. Now, if your goal shade is warm, then you do not need to worry about neutralizing this underlining pigment. But if your goal is neutral or cool, then we are going to need to learn how to neutralize that warm pigment that's exposed when we lighten the hair. So this chart on the screen shows the underlining warm pigment that lives underneath each hair color level, as well as what tone you need to use to correct it. So if your goal is to lighten the hair to a 7 with a neutral or a cool shade, then you're going to need to use a color that has a blue-violet base, which is normally like a beige, to neutralize or cancel out that warmth. Now, most lines have colors that are a couple shades mixed together. For example, there's natural ash, and natural ashes are great because they have the neutralizing ash pigment mixed in to the natural shade. So depending on what line you use, you may want to choose something that is already kind of mixed together, or you can mix an ash with a natural and you'll have the same effect. Now, this is a basic chart that I actually had ChatGPT make for me, but I suggest looking at the chart for the color line that you plan on using, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you. You can pick the exact color that you want. For my example, I'm going to use Wella, so in the description, I've also put a link to Wella's hair color chart that they have on their website. Now, some extra tips for this. If you use permanent dye or high lift dye and you still have some warmth in the hair, or you're unhappy with the tone that it came out to, you can still put a demi-permanent toner over this. Use the color wheel to help you determine what you need to do to get you to your goal. If the color still came out orangey, then use something with a blue base that is going to cancel out that orange. And anytime you are going back and applying a toner, I highly recommend toning down a level. So this means if your goal is a level 8, you'll want to lighten it to a level 9 and then tone it down to an 8. And this is going to ensure that it actually covers. Otherwise, if it's not quite enough, it may not cover well enough. Okay, so let's take a look at my example. My end goal is a level 10. The underlining pigment of a level 10 is pale yellow. So the neutralizing tone we would need to use to cancel out that yellow would be violet. However, my end goal is ash. So if I only used violet, my color would be neutral, not ash. So ideally, we're gonna wanna mix something with a violet as well as an ash. Now keep in mind that if we only used ash, or if we did an intense ash, yellow plus blue makes green. So without the violet in there, we could be turning the hair a little bit greenish, or it would come out a little bit muddy or dull. And this would especially be true if it was a deeper yellow, like a level 9 or a level 8. A level 10, it's not as much because it's pale yellow, so it wouldn't take on very green, and you could actually get away with using an ash. The best option for this would be an ash violet. Another option could be pearl ash. That would give me a good cool neutral. You could even add a little bit more ash to it, which this is what I normally do as a stylist to kind of refine and get it a little bit more specific. I suggest doing a test strand, testing out a few of these different formulas. And again, there's not one right or wrong answer. There's often many different things that you could mix together to get to the same goal. The main thing here is that you're canceling out the warmth with your underlining pigment, as well as adding a little bit of that tone that you want to go for. Since I want to be ashy, we're adding some more ash to it. Now I know that this step is the most confusing of them all, and so if you only take one thing away from it, it's to identify your underlining pigment and choose a shade that accounts for it. Step 5. How to choose the right developer when you're going lighter. So the developer strength or the developer volume is what determines how much lift you can get. So for permanent dye, to get one level of lift, you want to go with 20 volume. 10 volume is normally deposit only. For 2 levels of lift, 30 volume. If you want to get 2 levels and you have coarse hair, you're probably going to need to use 40 volume. You want 3 levels of lift and you have fine hair, then I would use 40 volume. If you're using high lift dye, you typically don't use any lower than 30 volume. Otherwise, you would probably just use permanent dye. The point of high lift dye is you're trying to achieve extra lift. So these are meant to be used with 30. Most of the time, actually 40 volume developer is what's recommended. So if you want 3 or 4 levels of lift and you have fine hair, you can likely get away with 30 volume. But if you want 3 or 4 levels of lift and your hair is medium to coarse, then you should use 40 volume. And with bleach, the developer strength is referring to how fast the hair lightens. I show in this experiment I did above that 10 volume actually will eventually catch up to 40 volume. It just takes a lot longer to get there. The only thing is if you're using a lower volume, since it can take longer to get there, you may need to reapply the bleach and developer a second time just so it kind of restarts the lightening process. But professionally, I suggest starting with a lower volume, and then I would rather go back and reapply the color than starting with a volume that's too high to begin with. So if you have fine hair and you're using bleach, I suggest starting with 10 volume. If you have a medium texture hair, you may want to start with 20 volume. If you have really coarse hair, then you can probably start with 30 volume, but starting with 20 volume is not going to be a bad thing. You can always go back and reapply. And 40 volume is never recommended to use with bleach. Just don't do it. Now, if you need to go back and tone with a demi-permanent color, either after bleaching or if your permanent dye didn't come out exactly how you wanted it, then you will always want to use demi-permanent with a 5 or 6 volume developer. Never higher, because then it's opening the cuticle too much. Now, some extra pro tips for this. If you are coloring from scalp to ends, the virgin roots will process quicker than the rest of the hair, and this is because of the heat coming off of your scalp. So if you're doing one color from scalp to ends, you're gonna wanna use a lower volume right at your roots and then a higher volume at the rest. This will stop you from having like a band of really warm, bright roots, and then the rest is like a little bit deeper of a color. And as far as mixing goes with ratios, I suggest always following what the manufacturer recommends of the brand you're using. It'll say right on the box how much developer to dye ratio to use. And as far as processing, I suggest always following what the brand of color recommends. There's a reason why they tell you to process for that right amount of time, because you want to make sure it's lightening and depositing accurately. Okay, so for my example, let's take a look at my before and my goal. Now, my hair texture is medium. It's maybe a little on the finer side, but it's certainly not as fine as a lot of people. So I am a medium hair texture. I'm using high lift dye because I want to get 3 levels of lift. So I am going to use 40 volume developer. Now I want to quickly go over some common issues or special cases that you may face. The first one is that some cool shades do require a little bit extra lightening before they can take on that really cool tone. For example, a deep, dark smoky, or a icy tone, those are gonna require a lot of lift so that they can remove all of that underlining warmth and then be toned down. You need to make sure that you are lightening it up enough to get rid of the underlining warmth so that the tone is not taking on neutral and it's actually looking cool and smoky. Okay, number 2 is that porous hair grabs cooler tones especially really strongly. So if your hair is damaged, it may want to just suck the color right up. However, it will fade very quickly, but this is definitely something to keep in mind. And again, do a test strand so that you can be aware of it and you're not just shocked. Number 3 is if you have highlighted hair, you want to be really careful to not overlap those previously highlighted pieces. Sometimes this may mean going through and picking out and weaving through the non-highlighted pieces versus the highlighted pieces so that you can lighten them evenly. Especially if you're going from highlights to a full color, this is pretty tedious, and there really isn't a simple way to avoid having to do that because you do not want to pull bleach over already level 10 highlighted hair. So when possible, isolate those highlighted sections or pick them out and just try to avoid them the best you can. All right, so now you should hopefully have your formula or maybe a few different formulas that you can test. Before coloring your whole head, always do a test strand. A test strand is the only way that you can guarantee how it's gonna come out beforehand. Even as professionals, we are sometimes a little surprised by how the hair may react to color. So it is so important, especially when doing DIY hair color, that you perform test strands. I can't stress this enough. This can save you from an absolute disaster. It not only will help you determine what the color is going to come out like and possibly save you from damaging your hair, but it also can help you fine tune it. Maybe you see that you could have gone a little ashier. Maybe you went a little too ashy. This is going to help you refine those details before you do the whole thing. Now, it's pretty simple to do a test strand. You just mix up a little bit and apply it to the back of your hair, somewhere that's not gonna be seen. I've got a video I'll link above on how to do this, but ultimately it's very straightforward. Now, I strongly recommend sticking with one color line from start to finish rather than mixing lines together. Every brand has their own shade system and they all are a little bit different. Sometimes one brand's level 6 is a little lighter or darker than another, but the overall formulation process is the same. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I often use Pravana as well as Wella color. Particularly for lightening the hair and using high lift and stuff, I prefer Wella. So I'm gonna put some links in the description, but you can use any line that you want and this process will all still be the same. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I did my best to break this complex topic down. I've linked a lot of resources in the description, other videos as well as blog posts that really are gonna help you figure this all out yourself. And please leave me any other questions that you may have in the comment section that maybe I didn't dive deep enough on, and I will do my best to answer all of them. And coming up, I will also be doing a video on how to formulate when you want to go darker. And make sure you subscribe if you want to make every day a good hair day.